Hi, I'm Bob Dodge with Artemis Gallery. I started Artemis Gallery about 23 years ago. Began like many of you as a collector. So one of the things that I picked up over the years is that we really have to use all of our senses in determining if something is authentic or not. So what we're using today is our sense of smell. And one of the things that many of our clients are a little bit surprised about, when I come in to look at a collection, one of the first things I might do is I'll pick up a piece of pottery and I'll lick my finger and I'll apply it to the piece of pottery and I'll smell it. And the question always comes, what the heck are you doing, Bob? Well, what we're doing, ancient pottery that has sat in the ground for 2,000 years or 1,000 years has this tendency to pick up this incredibly earthy aroma. So what I'm doing, if you apply just a little bit of moisture to something, that aroma will hit you. And if something is authentic, when you put water on it, if I'm back here at the shop, I use a spritzer, but if I'm out at a shop or in a client's house, I might use spit, I might use their tap water, but you're applying water to a piece and then you're smelling it. And it doesn't take long before you know you're smelling ancient, because the earthy aroma that comes out of pottery that has sat in the ground for thousands of years is unmistakable. So in our last series, we showed that this was a reproduction. And if you apply water to this and you smell it, you get an odor, but it's not the intense earthy odor. A lot of times it'll have a chemical smell to it. Sometimes it's a little sweeter. Oftentimes it's just not intense. A good faker will throw something in the ground for a year or two to try and replicate that smell, or at least, certainly a couple of weeks. But the difference in smell between something that is set in the ground for 1,000 years and something that is set in the ground for a couple of weeks is unmistakable. So you smell it, you start to get a database in your mind of what ancient pottery smells like and what it doesn't. You want to go into everything that you're looking at with the assumption that it's fake, and then use your senses to change your mind. So if you go in thinking that everything that you look at is fake, you want it to be fake, you are suspicious that it couldn't possibly be real, but let your senses start to give you the data that changes your mind. So we use our sense of smell, we smell it, gee, that just doesn't smell like ancient pottery, so we've confirmed our suspicions that this is fake. So pottery isn't the only thing that picks up an aroma in the ground. Ancient stone, especially volcanic stone, basalt, mortars and pestles and metates and things like that, those items that have a very porous surface, they will also pick up the same kind of aroma that you'll get in pottery. And then, not to be too disgusting, but ancient textiles. If you happen to be a collector of ancient textiles, you've probably smelled what can only be described as pure, putrid death. So these textiles have been wrapped around mummies, and in some cases 2,000 years, and unless they've been cleaned, and the vast majority have not been. So a lot of these textiles that have been around for 50, 100 years have never been cleaned, never been sterilized. They picked up a horrific smell of just disgusting death. I mean, there's no better way to put it. So you smell it. Once you smell an ancient textile that has been wrapped around a mummy, that is a smell you will never forget, and it will convince you immediately that this thing is right. So again, use our senses. Let's try and figure out ways to prove that something is right because we believe it's wrong. This is Bob Dodge with Artemis Gallery. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks. Bye.